Belly, Tool. Who else is on here? Buffalo Tom and Spiral Carpets.
What up, Hoss? Welcome to a Thursday Collection Connection, where we're playing a game that's just an excuse to talk about records. Play the game with my brother, Plastic Eric, from the Plastic Soundwave Cult, and you can play along and follow along by subscribing to both channels. In Eric's last video, he showed the comp Generation X, an alternative point of view. It is probably a comp in its purest form. Didn't feature music specifically written for it. It wasn't a fundraiser or anything. It was really just kind of a bunch of tunes that were of a piece, that's like a modern playlist, but recorded to disc and available for purchase, which is how we did back in the day. The title Generation X obviously immediately made me think of the Douglas Copeland book that popularized Generation X as a term for the generation in which I was born. And there's also, of course, the band, the Billy Idol band, Generation X, which was making music during peak Gen X, but they themselves were not Gen Xers, having all been born in the 50s. But anyway, I tried to think of a Douglas Copeland connection. And he did write a book called Girlfriend in a Coma, which is a Smiths track. But it didn't quite line up, you know. One thing is a band and one thing, I don't know. Didn't line up. An album title, I guess, the Generation X comp. And with the alternative point of view, I did briefly think about another comp, 90s comp called No Alternative, that even shared some of the same acts like Buffalo Tom and I already forget who else, but that seemed a little too close. I've done kind of a close cousin connection not too long ago, so I wanted to shake it up. And the compilation features a song called Los Angeles by Frank Black. He may call it Los Angeles, I don't know, Los Angeles. That's how he pronounces it all through the song. But anyway, that's the song called Los Angeles, and I started thinking about songs called Los Angeles and albums with big X's on the cover. And of course, I came to the album Los Angeles by X. This is a seminal debut album from the Southern California, LA punk band X. So the album is called Los Angeles, also features a track called Los Angeles, has a title track on it. And it is a four-piece with the sort of singularly off-kilter harmonies of John Doe and Exene Cervenka doing a lot of the vocals. It's almost an acquired taste, but it's crazy. It's like close harmonies. They're like the anti-Everly Brothers. The voices somehow blend together, even though they feel tuneless at times. And I don't know. It's a very odd vocal sound coming from them. But and then the other two members are the guitarist Billy Zoom and the drummer DJ Bonebreak. They came out of the same scene that gave rise to bands like Black Flag and Bad Religion and the Germs and the Descendants. But while, like all those bands, they never really achieved commercial success. They were probably the most commercial successful, chart-wise, of that batch of bands, kind of from the late 70s out of LA. And yeah, not immediately. I mean, so these albums are hailed as their early albums, hailed as influential and landmark albums. It wasn't until a little bit later that they saw a tiny bit of chart success. And I kind of first really became aware of them with See How We Are, which was kind of hit in a more Americana roots direction, sort of. I mean, it folded that in. I think like the Police around the same time, um, these were actually accomplished musicians, and so they weren't just picking up and making whatever racket they could. They were accomplished musicians who chose to express themselves in the sort of the idiom of the time. It spoke to them, I suppose. Um, and I don't believe it was a calculated thing, maybe not as calculated as the Police were. Um, but they did sort of expand uh, their palette as time went on. Their first 4 records, interestingly, were all produced by Ray Manzarek of The Doors. Um, just an odd little fact. So Los Angeles, which was their first, and also my favorite, which is Under the Big Black Sun. My favorite, which is Under the Big Black Sun. I can say that all at once. Which was their 3rd record. I think that's my personal favorite X album. And this one I only got this year. Right? So I got, I think, See How We Are. Still late. I don't think I had bought any of them contemporaneously. But the first one that I probably got was See How We Are. And then somewhere maybe around 2000-ish or something, I got Under the Big Black Sun. And really enjoyed that one. But it took me until this year and kind of just wandering around. And it was more like a record store visit where I just didn't want to leave empty-handed. That I've decided to pick up their first album, their debut. So those are the 3 X titles that I have. They kind of broke up after a couple more albums, but then reformed. They actually, I believe, tour to this day with a reconstituted original lineup. 3 of the 4 have never left. Guitarist Billy Zoom left, I think, just before See How We Are, but he rejoined the band in the 2000s, and they released 1 album called Alphabet Land in the last 10 years or so. But anyway, I think I've rambled enough. So I will throw the connection with the big X on the cover and Los Angeles, both the title of the album and a track on the album, just like the Generation X comp that Eric showed. And I will toss that over to Eric, and you can look for his response on Monday on his channel, The Plastic Sound Wave Cult. So that's all I got. I thank you for watching.